What's up? Just wanted to come in here, catch up with people for a while. It's been a grip since I've been on here. Not sure if anybody's going to come in. It is the middle of the day. Just wanted to talk about randomness, why I haven't been posting no videos, shit like that. Ohio Trucker, what's up? Leah, what's up? I'm about to turn this truck off as soon as a few more people come in. Pokerhead, what's up? Let me turn this truck off now. If you happen to be in here, why don't you drop where you are at right now? I'm out here in Hershey, Nebraska. What's up from Laredo? I'm sure it's hot down there because it is hot here, but I'm about 12 miles. I'm delivering tomorrow at the Walmart in North Platte, Nebraska. So rather than stay at that Love's down there, which is bad enough, or that Flying J, that's a shithole. So I just decided to stop out here at this Shell, big old dirt lot. Definitely would not recommend parking here in adverse conditions. I could see somebody getting stuck out here in snow. So man, it's been a while since I've been on here. Posted a video, did a live, anything like that. And not that there's anything wrong per se, but you know, I've never been like no vlogger, YouTuber. Well, first of all, I ain't no YouTuber, first of all. But what's up, Trent? Ann Arbor, Michigan, love it up there. Whiteland, I was just out there. So anyway, I'm not like anybody that's like doing any videos where you're like showing what my day's like or anything like that. Normally it's been stuff where I try to at least be somewhat informative, kind of talk about things from that perspective, and generally try and, I don't know, there have been too many changes going on from a company perspective for me to really feel like I can put out any information about anything, because every time I turn around something's changing. Now you got to scan bills in, now you gotta, you know, do this, now we're doing that. You know, it's just too many changes right now. Aurora, Colorado, right there in my neck of the woods. All right, I'm probably a little bit further south than where you're at, maybe about 20 miles probably from where you're delivering. Leah's out there chilling in the west all over the desert, finally headed to Nashville. So good thing, I mean, one good thing I gotta say about this, because I just delivered in Salt Lake City and I made the cardinal mistake, especially knowing how things worked out on this run. Romaine, what's up? So I deliver a load at that Walmart in Corinne, Utah, right? Before I deliver, so I'm at that little truck stop, that little hardware store truck stop or whatever, right there about a mile from the Walmart. So I get a pre-plan that's saying I'm picking up tomorrow in Salt Lake City, about 4 miles from the terminal. So I'm like, you know what, let me just drive to Salt Lake City. I'll be able to get a washout and I'll be able to post up 4 miles away from where I'm picking up. Now, I love the trailer I have, right? It's a 24. You know, it did have a little issue with the inside of the door thing where the little rivets, you know, they got that metal strip. You know, that was, a few rivets were broke on that. And I was like, you know what, let me just swing by the terminal, get a washout. I'll be able to wake up later, all that kind of stuff. Tell me they didn't try to take my trailer from me when I went through inbound. Andrea's life. She happens to be my wife. Everybody say happy birthday, Andrea. She loves a birthday. 56 years old. And what's funny, I was just on the phone with her. Well, not just on the phone with her. I was on the phone with somebody. I think my aunt. a while back, and it wasn't my aunt. I forgot who it was, but they asked how old I was, and I forgot if I was 55 or 56 years old, so I actually had to text my wife and say, how old are we? So anyway, so I go through there, they're telling me I might, this is going to have to go in the shop and all this stuff, and I was like, man, yeah, I was on the phone with one of my friends. Okay, so I wasn't showing that I was pissed off, but I was like, man, I knew I shouldn't have came here. I learned a lesson not to come to the terminal, all this kind of stuff. So they ended up just fixing it in the inbound. So I was very appreciative of that, because the last thing I want to do is give up a trailer and not get it back in time. And so anyway, I got that load. Ended up getting fuel at the Rollins TA yesterday. And then I drove about another 10 miles down the road. Anybody seen that Sinclair on the north side of 80? Got the big old dinosaur out in front. That's where I ended up parking up. All right, Kevin says it looks to him that Prime is already sold because of all the changes. Man, I don't know what the situation is. I just know that there are a lot of changes going on right now. And one change, this scanning the bills, I don't know. But, so anyway, that's why I haven't been posting any videos, really, because I don't know what's going on at Prime. So it's better for me just to, what's up, 412? It's better for me just to not even say anything until I at least know what's going on. Because all that's going on is a bunch of changes. So that is that. I made a mistake because I got out here, I don't deliver till tomorrow. So my wife is out at Southlands Mall. That's a nice little place to go do some shit, I guess. I don't know what she's doing out there. All right, anyway, Romaine says changes in rumors. Well, it's not a rumor when you put something out. So it would not be a rumor if I was to send everybody that I know a message saying, if you come over to my house, I'm not going to have any Fruit Loops for you to eat. And then have a bunch of people upset that they can't get Fruit Loops. And then me say, well, that's only like, I might have like a whole closet full of Fruit Loops. Well, that's just because I'm running low on Fruit Loops right now. That's not going to be permanent. So that wouldn't be a rumor. That's some shit I put out there. So, damn, I got off track. So anyway, I just feel a little off balance right now in terms of just what's going on. Anytime, and this isn't a Prime thing, this isn't anything, I just don't like a lot of changes, and I don't like a lot of changes in short periods of time, even if the changes were good changes. So it could be the best changes in the world. They happen a little bit too fast. It just throws me a little off balance. So I just figure, let this young crop get out there and make their stamp, put their stamp on it. Get Romaine out there and Slime Pack and this younger batch coming through. The industry as a whole is changing. My thing is the companies are getting away with squeezing us owners and lease guys. What's to say they're not going back and doing right by us when the market does? See, the changes to me, if it was a money, like if you threw, now I'm at the money situation that I'll deal with is different than if I was just a solo driver. So that I don't feel that my loads or my pace of working or anything like that is a problem. If that was a problem, then we'd have a major problem. And some of the changes 412 we're talking about are industry changes. Like some of the stuff you could say, the cameras are industry's thing, which they aren't, because Swift just came out and said, you know what, we ain't putting no inward facing cameras in our shit. They have a video of that. But I guess that doesn't matter if people say one thing and do the other, because it happened here. But those, you could look at that as an industry change. But then when it's like, now you got to scan in your bills when you're at the shipper and do all this stuff. Man, it's hard enough just to leave the place, depending on when you get the bills. Now, 50% of the place, it's not going to be a problem. But the other 50% or 25%, it might be inconvenient. And then the other 25% of that, it's just a problem. And then what people are saying is, well, just go find a ramp to park on or go to a truck stop, and that's fine. But that defeats the purpose, because you're supposed to do it while you're at the shipper. So just stuff like that. Whatever else the changes are. And I understand why they're wanting to do it. But the problem is now you're playing to the lowest common denominator at the company. So maybe there just needs to be more training. I don't know. But what's up, Earl? Maybe we wouldn't be having as many of these mistakes. Because that's probably what it comes down to, is mistakes. Yeah, freight has been good. Pokerhead, Tito's and soda. Hey, no hippie greens from Nashville. What's up? I wouldn't mind getting a load out to Nashville. Oh, I know what I was going to talk about. I'm kind of low on hours. Now, I love being low on hours depending where I'm at. So I got 8 hours on my 70 right now. I'm picking up 9 tonight. So the way I look at it for trip planning is that gives me like 17 hours. So basically that'll give me, then I got another 8 coming back after that. So I'd say I could handle a load this, like, well, I'll have to break it down. But if I'm in this area, that means my next load probably can't go too damn far. And if it does, if it's some shit going up to like New York area or some shit like that, I'll turn down the load. I'm not going up there low on hours and having to deal with that with low hours. So usually I'll end up running that Illinois, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Indiana. I'll end up in that area. That's what I love. All right, Rob D says Prime, or no, because Swift is counting on grabbing some Prime drivers. Listen, some of this Facebook shit is just fucking stupid, right? You know, people are like, well, they're trying to act like people aren't leaving, and I can tell you that people are leaving. I've had people that called me up and said, hey, I'm leaving, I can't do it. You know, how are things going with you? And I'm like, you know, and I if I'm talking to a one person driver, then I'll speak like that. If I'm talking to somebody that has multiple trucks, that'll be a different conversation. You know, so I'll get calls from people, or I can look at it very easily. I don't really go out of my way to talk about referrals just because it's not a natural part of my conversation. Not that there's anything wrong with that. But I can look at my list of referrals and I can look at how many of those people are still active. And that list has diminished very quickly. So, I don't know how many people are leaving Prime and going to Swift. I don't know where people are going. But maybe that's not a bad move for some people. I don't know. Okay, there's so many companies with cameras, they never bother me personally. The best company I ever worked for had them, but Prime's problem is see, my issue isn't even necessarily the cameras. I don't necessarily like them, but I just think there's too many changes at one time is really what I think. And who's going to be judged? Like, who is going to be the judge on this stuff, right? Now, there might be some fleet managers that have drove, or safety people that have drove, or whatever. And let's talk recently. Then that's a different story. But in a lot of cases, it's going to be like, some guy that's in the stands trying to tell Michael Jordan how to play basketball. And I'm not calling myself Michael Jordan. I'm just saying people that are actually driving, it'd be like me trying to tell somebody how to be an astronaut. So that's kind of my thing on it, more than that, and just the narrative that's coming along with that. Now I'm gonna get off that, but that's kind of what it is. All right, Rob D is picking up his last load with Prime tomorrow. I'm done with this new BS. Hey, if you want, man, share where you're going. The guys running the show are people with sales and business degrees. You're probably right about that. And truly don't understand how things work. Definitely don't understand what's really going on. It's easy to play Monday morning quarterback. You know what I'm saying? Like, once I get in the accident, it's easy to say about what went wrong, but what about all those other times when that shit was avoided, or the stuff that you didn't see? Somebody sent me a video where they actually got it was deemed as a preventable.
Attention.
And the guy came off of like not a highway ramp, but across the like grass into the highway and hit him, and that was deemed preventable. Let me see what's up. So anyway, what's up, Tyree? Too much damn hand holding, and I think that maybe sound controversial. I don't know, but I'm a different kind of person when it comes to this. So when I got to Prime, I got on my TNT's trainer's truck in April. I got off of my TNT's trainer's truck in November, so that's a long time, right? I didn't necessarily feel like I had to stay on there to learn everything, but I wanted to stay on longer. But then it was like, if I'm going to go lease, I'd rather do it at the beginning of a year for tax reasons, all different kind of stuff like that, right? So that's what made me stay on longer. Then my trainer left, and so I ended up actually jumping about a month early. So anyway, got my truck, drove for about 6 months, and then I had a guy that was at Prime who had his own truck that didn't feel comfortable driving on his own, and he was only going to fulfill his 1-year contract at Prime, so he wanted to get on my truck. So we teamed for 6 months, roughly. So in essence, that was almost me learning how to train. Even though he had experience, it was me kind of learning that. Then about 3 months after that, I picked up a student, and then I did like 4 or 5, how many of those. But I was ready. But what they're saying is, all right, well, once you upgrade, you go TNT, and then you're done TNT, and then you can train within 6 months or however many months it is. I don't think that I personally couldn't have done it at 6 months. Like, I couldn't have done 30,000 miles, upgraded, drove for 6 months solo, and then trained somebody else. And the first trainee I had would have me at 6 months, and just about anybody I know at 6 months, he would have embarrassed you. If your backing was not on point, he would have embarrassed you, because he was like good at that shit right off the bat. And then you see it at shippers and receivers a lot of times when it does, whether it's, I've seen CR England, although I don't see them training as much lately, but I have seen them in the past, or Prime, when they're like a student and a trainer at a shipper, receiver, or truck stop, and it kind of looks like the blind leading the blind. So, but I realize you also have to have trainers, so I just think some of that might be a little bit too quick. Like people trying to train a little bit too early, and then the end product is kind of a representation of that. Or you have the people that are kind of have always trained, that they don't really have that like enthusiasm anymore to actually train, and they're just running. And then you have people, man, I knew somebody that got out of training and didn't even know how to fuel. Now, some of that got to be somebody else. Some of that you got to take responsibility for yourself. But I would say that, back to the point, I think that a little bit more training would help in some of these other problems we're having. All right, which is the case at almost... All right, which is the case at almost... Okay. Misfit flatbedder. So anyway, what also happened, this really kind of pissed me off, totally different subject. So I got this cooler in my truck, like it looks like a ice chest, but it's electric. I had just went to TA and bought like two, or not bought, with my credits because they were about to expire. So I got 2 of those pre-made meals. I was up at the Salt Lake City terminal, got like 3 burritos just to kind of have around. And when I went and put my stuff from TA in there, I realized it wasn't on. So I'm thinking, okay, sometimes the plug comes out, let me plug it back in. Not working. So then I tried using my plug-in one, because not the cigarette lighter one, but the plug-in one. That's not working either. So I had to go buy a bag of ice, see if I can keep it cold enough, because I do not want to throw that shit out. All right. Also, I can't... Hold on. Also, can't for the life of me understand how anybody thinks leasing and running on a CPM slide and pay scale is winning combo. Yeah, I don't know. All right, Tyree. After seeing how Prime wanted Slime Pack to drive with no airbag on that trailer, just showed their true colors. I actually had a conversation with her when that was going down. She called me for some advice on it, and my advice was, first of all, if that ever happens, anything happens like that, and you know you're gonna be, it's a violation, you got to see if there's a way station between where you are and where you're going. I don't think that was the case, but anything that's gonna cause, like if you blow out an airbag on a truck, basically that's just like having a massive air leak. And if for any reason that starts leaking too much air, depending on where you're at, and then brakes lock up, that could be a problem. So I've done, I may have done some stuff that, or drove some stuff, that might have been a little on the edge, but not like, I forgot what air pressure she said it was holding, but nothing I'd feel comfortable with kind of going up and down. So I told her to tell them she ain't doing that, call somebody out. Rob's been at Prime for almost 9 years. I found a job with a base salary that's more than I make as a lease op, doing specialized trucking. That's extra money on top of the base salary in the bank. That's definitely a good move. And personally, where I live at, that's just not an option for me. I'm not, as soon as you start talking regional or some of that stuff in Colorado, I am not trying to mess around with I-70 or I-80, because a lot of that stuff, regional in Colorado, is going to run that route. Or even I-70 coming west or east could be a problem sometimes. So I just rather not have to deal with weather all the time. All right. Now, I don't know if anybody was trying to call Slime Pack a diva for having that get called out there, but here's the one thing I could tell you. So the thing that she said was, Road Assist wants me to drive it to like this Love's, right? Now, if you're going to look at it from, if I'm looking at it through my perspective, is first of all, how soon am I going to be able to get in that Love's, right? And then, am I going to have to be dealing with the parking once it is done? Because most, you know, so I got to think about that. It might be faster for me to just have somebody come out there and do it. Plus, I don't have to worry about getting pulled over. And then, if somebody did get pulled over and got put out of service, then we'd be complaining about that in the meeting. You know what I mean? So, you know, change is constant, but sometimes when I was in the Marines, if they did unnecessary shit, we complained about that too. So it has nothing to do with adapting. Hey, I've adapted. I'm doing whatever I got to do. That's always going to be the case, but that doesn't mean that I don't sit back and look at it and be like, you know what? Anyway. Leah, definitely not fun dealing with all the changes. I'm hanging in there though. Nothing yet to make me leave. Yeah, kind of in that same situation. I'm tied to the tree even more. So I did talk to somebody that left and went to Crete. He had a paid off truck at Prime. He went to Crete doing their power only. So we'll see how that works. I think they get paid cents per mile. I guess that's true, but if things get worse, who's to blame after that? I'm not sure. I'll let you know where I'm going after I'm there a minute. Don't want to put too much out there too soon. I hear you. Now, I know somebody that just left also that went to Martin. And some of the stuff they like about Martin, some of the stuff they don't like, but one of the things they don't like, which is what I see a lot of at Swift, is them raggedy ass trailers out there. There is nothing I hate more than a raggedy ass trailer. And like Martin, I never really noticed their trailers that much, but Swift definitely has some raggedy trailers. Pokerhead is done when his lease is over. Lenny, what's up? Yeah, Lenny, I'm out here in Nebraska, Hershey, Nebraska, at the Shell. I think it's I-60 or mile market 64. So I'm just 11 miles west of the North Platte Loves and Flying J. If you know anyone that wants a brand new set of auto socks, I got 3 packs. I'll give a good deal being Spring Mow on Friday. Hey, put that out there on Facebook, boy. People, it's like a garage sale up there right now. Now, if I wish this was happening last year, because I could have, I just bought all, I had auto socks for all my trucks, so that was pretty expensive. Tyree, I can speak a little bit on the auto socks, even though I personally haven't ran them. I'm just speaking from somebody that has. The problem with the auto socks, sometimes, especially if you take like I-70 in Colorado, for example, they'll put the chain up. You have to chain up like 1.5 miles, 2 miles before you actually hit the snow. So in that case, you're really kind of wearing out your auto socks just getting to the snow. You know what I mean? So in that case, it's really not that good. What they did say also is once you get on the snow, he felt that it did as comparable to chains or whatever. And he personally didn't. He was worried about them falling off his truck. But he's, He's used them a couple times. He says as long as he goes under what the limit is, you're supposed to be driving on chains. It's not an issue. I'm not trying to break any of them out. So what I would do if I've been tempted to do it, is buy those auto chains that you hook up and they drop behind your tires. You know, I've thought about doing that, but I don't really run out west enough to really justify the expense. Okay, Romaine trucker, 6 months with a license and 6 weeks in your own truck to train. I think you should train, Romaine. Shoot, you got the temperament to do it. The cream rises to the top. You know, that reminds me of Macho Man Randy Savage. Cause if you watch wrestling back in the days, you know what I'm talking about. He did a little skit about the cream rising to the top. A412, hey, trust me, Colorado, and I think it's more Colorado, is so unpredictable that, first of all, it doesn't look like it's that bad. And you could look at your maps and all that kind of stuff, but Colorado will throw that stuff up there so fast. And it's not like Wyoming or Montana or some of these places where they throw up the chain restriction and then you have somewhere to park real quick. You ain't got nowhere to park other than the chain up areas, and they will kick you out of that if you ain't chaining up. So a lot of people get forced to chain out there is really what happens. Let's see. Big H Trucking, what's up? I met a prime gal who couldn't back or slide tandems. It took over 45 minutes for her to guide her into an empty spot. I'm seeing that a lot lately, not just with prime drivers, but just in general. I would like to say it's because I got so good that now everything looks kind of unorthodox, but that's not the case. I do think there's been less of a focus in general. I don't know. I've seen some crazy, like back in, like just yesterday, I was at this place and just watching this guy back in, and it was just, there's a difference between having a problem backing in when you know that they're having a bad day, or they have the concept right, they're moving their wheels in the right direction. You know, they might just be struggling at that time. But you could tell when somebody just has no general concept of it. And that's what this guy did yesterday. And I feel like such a dick. I was a dick yesterday, and it's gonna haunt me. I'll talk about that in a second. It's gonna actually haunt me, what I did yesterday. Let's see. Yeah, the socks are lightweight, all that kind of stuff. I just can't. And the worst place you could store chains is in that side box. You know how hard it is taking chains out of a side box? All right, I heard some of the states don't count those socks. They all count them as chains. Let's see. Okay. I hear you, 412. We're talking about slime pack. Alex, what's up? I wouldn't mind Midwest Regional, but you know, in the winter, I do like getting shot down into Texas or shot down into Florida, you know, just to buy some time, man. Sometimes winter is just about buying some time. So if I get low going to Florida, you know, once I get out of the snow, I'm like, okay, I'm good now. It's going to take me like 2.5 days to get down there. Then I might sit a day. And then it's going to take me 2.5, 3 days to get out. So I got a week where I don't got to worry about snow. So I like that shit. Now in the winter, I'm not a huge fan of Minnesota, Wisconsin, all that. I'll do it, but all right. So what did I do yesterday? Truck Money BG. I know you were talking about maybe going over there with Mr. Sam Walton. Wasn't sure if you did that one yet or not. Raphael, yeah, I know somebody at Walmart right now. He's loving it. What's the mega carrier shuffle? That's people that don't know how to. Let's see. All right, let me get to how I was a dick yesterday. Then I'll catch back up with these comments a little bit. Man, it's gonna haunt me. So I'm at this place to pick up. Now, it's 195 degrees out in Salt Lake City. It's the kind of place where you're supposed to back in, put your paperwork in the trailer, then they load the trailer, then they put the paper. It's not the actual paperwork. They put this folder with like some shit in it, and then you got to take that back up to the shipping office. Man, that was a long ass walk in that hot ass weather. And so I get back to the truck, and this guy, Asian dude, I'm just saying this to paint the picture. So he like comes up to me and he puts his phone in my face, but it looks like Russian writing. So he was like one of the, one of those kind of Russians, right? Puts the phone in my face and it's like, do you have any like jumper cables or something like that? And I just wanted to get the fuck out of there. And the side door on my truck, sometimes if once I open it, if I don't slam it just right, it'll, the air will start leaking in. And I just started thinking about all this shit, and I was like, man, I ain't got it. So there are some other trucks there. Something he's just gonna go to the next truck, right? So anyway, he goes. Maybe 5 minutes later, I'm in the process of scanning all this goddamn paperwork in that we got to do now. And this one's like about a 9-pager because everything was on a different PO. And doing all the stuff I got to do before I leave. And a guy who used to work for Prime came and tried to help him. He had like a jumper that you would carry in your truck. But the jumper wasn't charged all the way, so he couldn't get the guy's truck jumped. So, right before I leave, this guy starts leaving. And, man, he got kicked out of there. And then to make it worse, and luckily the yard dog was there. This was one of those places where you go in one way and out the other way, and it has those things that'll puncture your tires if you go the wrong direction, which is stupid. Why would you do that? He was almost about to run over those strips, but the yard guy was there and caught him about 5 yards before he was about to run him over. And I was just like, man, that is... I just feel like a complete dickhead for that. And so now I got to pay it forward somewhere else, I guess. ATS is paying 80 cents a mile for solo drivers. That's good right there. Andrea Garcia got to go. All right, Allie, check you out later. Lenny just fueled up in North Platte, Nebraska. All right, Lenny was a Hulk Hogan fan, but Macho Man was way better than Hulk Hogan. Especially back in the old days, Javier Rodriguez, what's up? Leah is saying that they are rushing to fill seats because they have knowledge that tons of drivers are leaving or something. That's weird. I don't know. Oh, leaving the industry, not a particular company. That could be true. Laurel, Mississippi. I wouldn't mind getting down to Mississippi. When the lock on the trailer side box freezes, you're screwed, even more screwed. Absolutely. That WD-40, man, listen. They say not to have WD-40, so I stopped using it. So I've been using this silicone shit right here. And it's when my lock, man, them locks, they're a pain in the ass. They're a whole nother issue. I'm not gonna keep replacing. Well, let me just put it this way: I ain't trying to replace no $55 or $60 lock or whatever that is anyway. But when I'm having a hard time like getting the lock out, and it's like happening in dry, warm weather, it seems like just water on it works better than anything. And then I'll take my padlock off and just kind of spray it and then just let it sit for a while and try to soak in. But that doesn't really do no good either. But yeah, last winter, you know, Prime has the, and it wouldn't be that big of an issue, but we got some snitches at Prime. They just snitched to snitch. Especially if you're in this Facebook group. Now they got somebody out there snitching about something totally different. But, you know, if somebody sees you without a lock on your trailer, you know, they're going to be calling somebody. And then that actually gets counted as a service failure, right? So I try to do what's right and everything, even though it doesn't make common sense sometimes. And I spoke about this before. I'm at this Blue Beacon in Milwaukee. It's the one that's kind of by this house. It's kind of by itself, but I'm out there, you know, get the washout, and I'm like, let me be a good boy. Let me go back here and put this lock on my trailer. You know, it's icy as fuck back there. I almost slipped back there on that ice. I wanted to throw my lock through that house window. I was so pissed off. But then the dumbest thing was, I knew what the weather was going to be. Common sense just said, okay, Lau, sometimes you just got to use common sense. I mean, there's company policy, there's common sense. Sometimes you got to do that. So, I put the lock on the trailer. I'm going to be picking up in Sioux Falls or Sioux City, whatever it is that's down there in South Dakota or some shit like that. Man, that lock froze so hard on that thing. I'm out there with the, you know, using all kinds of shit to try to get that lock off. So now I just figure I'll just I'll put like a Ziploc bag over the lock or something. Maybe keep some of that stuff off there, but see, but that's the problem. That's why Prime comes up with these like hard and fast things. Like, you gotta have a lock on every trailer. Not because you need to have a lock on every trailer, but because they can't determine when it's common sense and when it's not. So let's just make it a hard and fast rule. Because there's no reason why, if I'm getting a washout here and my next stop is 20 miles away, putting a lock on there really makes any sense, right? But they got to do it because they don't know who's, you know, well, they don't got to do it, but that's why they're doing it. Cody, I agree, and normally I'm the one that's out there helping more than anybody, which is what is the hardest part about this, is that, you know, that was just and my thing was, somebody else is going to help them. I'm in this mood right now. I just want to get out of here. And you know, then you throw in the language barrier and all this shit. I was just like, you know, I think I got locks. I don't have locks on these low bars here, but on my truck that's sitting in the Denver yard, I had a driver that put them little low bar locks on there just so they wouldn't get stolen. But if I ever have to use those load locks, I'm not putting those locks back on, just because Yeah, I'm not trying to spend any money on any kind of locks. Let's see. Just see, Tyree, the problem with me going and buying just a regular old lock at a truck stop is as soon as somebody breaks into that trailer, they're going to pin that shit on you. And that's the last thing I need. Speaking of trucks getting broke into, personally, my do not return list, I went there one time a while back, and it was a sketchy area. Didn't really have a problem with it myself. Cisco and Philadelphia. All right. I don't know if that's where the driver at Prime got their truck broke into on the street, but I'm hearing that's a thing out there right now. I got WD-40, but like I said, this stuff over here is supposed to be the shit. This is supposedly this is supposed to be better than WD-40 for that kind of stuff. It's like I forget what, graphite or some bullshit. I don't know what it is. All right, let's see. You might be on the side of or you might be on Bonehead Truckers for trying to fight a guy on the side of the road. The closest I ever came to that was I was with a student at the time. This was in Toms Brook, Virginia. And I was training my first guy at the time. And you could either make a left and go to the left, or you could go to the right and go into the Flying J over there. And he could have gone in either one. It didn't matter. But he asked me which one he was going to go into, and he was a little bit too slow, and a guy tried to come on the inside right when he was making that turn. Then we got to the fuel island, and I did say something to him about it. Merrill Wood did 28.34 his first week. That's good shit right there. All right. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to winter at all. Hey, 412, them tire spikes, that's like, what are you really accomplishing by puncturing somebody's tires? Other than having somebody sit in your fucking driveway even longer than they would have if they'd have just been allowed to back out. That's like just dumb shit right there. Tyree, yeah, I was thinking about getting one of them booster boxes or booster things too. Just because you have an APU doesn't mean that you have enough charge in that. If your battery's super low, the APU's still not going to start. But you could jump it with the trailer, and all that. So, well, that's good. That was some good karma, him taking that lock off for free. Cody, they are either snitching at Prime. I was looking at the driver advisory board app, or driver advisory board comments. This was before it was actually put on Facebook, and I noticed that somebody was out here snitching about people posting like a load on Facebook or something like that. And I was just like, man, you either got that or people talking about getting up in meetings bragging about, telling on people, or you got people. One thing I will never do, you are never going to see me taking no picture or posting a video of somebody in a bad situation like that. Somebody was taking a video of somebody, and so one of these days, one of these people is going to get shot. You have somebody that could possibly just fuck their career up, who knows what's going on in their family life, and you're walking up on them with a camera. That could be the day they just say, you know what, fuck everything, I'm killing everybody. I will never do that shit, no matter how funny it is. Miss Flatbitter says you got a hawk to a spit on that thing. Yeah, if it only worked. 412, I can't believe that broad is famous. You know, she didn't do nothing to get famous, but it seems like she is at least putting in some effort in to pay shit forward in terms of donations, things like that. Don't forget to wear your safety vest every time you get out of the truck. Man, please tell me that there's a reefer, that there's a reefer or somewhere a reefer truck is going to pick up or deliver that's actually going to be fining somebody for not wearing no safety vest. That might be like some flatbed stuff, but I can't see that. And normally if they have a policy, you know, that they want you to have a safety vest on, then they'll post that policy and, you know, you do that stuff and kind of go from there. But chances are you're not going to see me wandering around the truck stop with a safety vest on unless I fucking forgot it. What's up, D's nuts? No, I'm joking. All right. Yeah, I'm trying to catch up with everybody's conversation. Merrill Wood, what company Prime Trucks governed it? I believe it's 62 or 63. Not 100% sure. Who's wearing a safety vest everywhere? Well, that's what they were telling us that we should be doing when we get out of the truck, especially at shippers and receivers. But any place that's busy, like a truck stop or, you know, whatever. Listen, if you gotta wear a safety vest, and this is for people watching this that are newer, at least get the safety vest and rub it around in some dirt or some grass or something to make it look like it's got a little age on it. Because you're just trying to tell people how new you are out there with that shiny ass vest on. Alright, let me just skip past this. John King, if I would drop in hook tomorrow, Walmart at 0001, can I go now? Yeah, well, it's going to say you could deliver X amount of hours early or not. So usually they have a 24-hour window on them Walmart dropping hooks. Yeah, I was thinking about buying some little shitty lock, and because you don't get a. How much sense does this make? Unless things have changed, you don't get a discount on the abloy lock if you turn in an abloy lock, but you get a discount if you turn in a non-abloy lock on an abloy lock. So might have to go to Dollar Tree, give me $1 lock, and walk in there and get the discount on it. Oh, that guy was working for Super Ego too. So that was the Russian connection. That's why it wasn't too shocking when he had that Russian language on his phone. Translator, whatever. Alright. Corey, new driver. Been driving. Cody, speaking of I-5 in California, to me, that's one of the most dangerous stretches of highway out there. Not that there's anything about that hill or anything that makes it dangerous other than the fact that what is it now, 4 lanes, 5 maybe in some areas, like where it merges, man, you got like trucks doing anywhere between 35 and 65 coming down that hill. Then you got cars going anywhere from 55 to 75 or 90. It's just too many lanes, too much trucks going around, trucks. All right, let me skip past some of this. Mother Trucker Official, what is up? So anyway, that's kind of what's been going on. It hasn't been a prime thing. Well, it has been a prime thing. It hasn't been a necessarily a revenue issue, other than the stuff that you deal with multiple trucks, but just too many changes why I haven't been posting no videos. And when I think about it, you know, there's always a reason not to do it. So I've just been a little slacking lately. So let me see. Yeah. Man, I gotta catch up. Leah wears her safety vest at all customers. It's easier. It's a habit. You know what? I commend you on that one right there. I think recording somebody in a bad situation like that. And here's the thing. I remember. Okay, so I don't even want to talk about that. I just think that, how can I put this without being too specific? Sometimes people that post videos of people being in compromising positions weren't really the best truck drivers themselves when they were driving trucks. I'm gonna leave it at that. Well, my wife just got herself a carrot bundt cake, so that's good. I do not ever have to worry about her missing her birthday. Man, I am so far behind. Andrea, if you're watching this, let me know if Mason did anything as far as buying a car and everything. Our son is in the market for a new car, and he's showing me like some shit that was like so expensive. I thought he'd moved out and had a place of his own to live in, but when I realized he didn't move out, I realized he was trying to buy too much car. Hey, Romaine, I was just gonna buy the dollar lock just to get the discount on the alloy lock. Man, this phone is getting hot. Might have to turn this truck on. Woo! Damn! Might have to move this phone. This Nebraska heat's on that ass right now. Alright, yeah, I walk back, so man, there's a lot of judgment going on in the trucking industry right now. That's another thing I don't like, man. It's always been judgmental anyway, but then you got people. I think what's happening is people are emotionally, I think people are a little more unstable than general. And I'm just even going to include myself, just because of the changes and everything. And when that happens, sometimes you might do whatever you can to find control. And it's easier to find control, talking about somebody else. I don't know. I don't get why people are doing this shit. All right. Now, I'm going to tell you, everybody's talking about these lease, the best lease purchase out there. I'm going to just say it. There is no better lease purchase out there than Prime. None. If you find it, let me know. But there is no better lease purchase out there. All the issues going on in Prime right now, just from mathematics, there's no better lease purchase out there right now. Now, regular leases, I don't know. There's a ton of leases that may be competitive with the Prime lease, but lease purchase, not even like a question. Pokerhead, one of the customers that actually is kind of serious about the safety vest is at Smithfield in, Anderson, Indiana, or somewhere out there in Indiana, where they actually, I could get away with this at a regular place that asks for a safety vest, but that one place does get specific about what it has to be. What's up, Tim Travels? Mr. Wood says Super Ego is the best lease purchase, and I'm going to say I know they're joking about that one. Alright, Mother Trucker, I want to do a tour of Prime. Who do I need to talk to? There's that lady, what's her name? Brooke Mosley could probably give you a tour of Prime. Yeah, Rob D got that right. So, Mother Trucker, if you wanted to do a tour of Prime, that's who you would talk to probably, is Brooke Mosley. She's the one that posts all the Prime stuff on Instagram. You could probably get hold of her there. Listen, Prime, them terminals are untouchable. They have shit over there that you don't even use. Movie theater, dog cleaning, frisbee, golf, basketball court, workout room, pool, man, they got too much shit. I mean, them terminals are the shit, right? Now, so you definitely ain't gonna see anything wrong with the terminal. All right, 412 is talking about Russian companies. Listen, when I was a manager in the mortgage business, I hired this Russian guy as a loan officer. I'm thinking I'll be able to tap into this other market, blah, blah, blah. Every single loan, there was fraud on it, or trying to, commit fraud and everything. And he comes to me, he's like, I'm like, this shit can't keep happening, man. We're wasting people's time submitting these loans. Loyal. Russian people would rather commit fraud than do it the right way, even if they could. And that's always stuck with me. Rob D says we don't have a CB shop. That would actually be a good one right there. Or dentist. Those would be two good things to have. No, pool table. We ain't got no pool. Hey, I've agreed. I agree that the terminals are not that important. As a matter of fact, the people that benefit from the terminals aren't the ones that are putting in that. Well, everybody does work, but they ain't the drivers. The drivers don't benefit from having all that shit at the terminal. You know what I mean? The drivers aren't benefiting from most of that stuff. So, I mean, it's good while you're there, but that's in-house. The terminals are for in-house people. Really, if you ask the driver or me, let's just say me, would I rather have the terminals we have in Springfield, Salt Lake City, or I'll throw Pittston in there, or would I rather have stripped down terminals but more of them in more places? I'd rather have more terminals in more places. Cody says Russians were rude. You know what? I'm not sure if Russians were necessarily rude, or at least the ones I've encountered. I think their speech pattern and the way they talk makes them come off a little bit more rude, but I could see that. Yep, daycare at the terminal. I haven't seen a truck driver drop no kid off there yet. Yeah, so all right, I'm about to get off here. Andrea, I'm gonna call you real quick since you're about to go to bed, and I'm about to come back here and take another nap anyway. I need to catch up on my expenses. I need to catch up on that shit. And I need to catch up on taxes. So, anyway, I'm about to get off here. Wait. Yeah, Russian people can be a little direct. Alright, anyway. But they were committing some fraud. I'm just saying, I can say all that and do whatever, but when I got a Russian guy, it's like cussing. It's like me saying to somebody, which is true, I'd rather cuss when a regular old English word to work. It's the same thing with the business that I saw people trying to do when I was in that business. Was I could do it the right way, but I'd rather just be fraudulent. It's funner. I don't know. Alright, anyway, let me get off here, call my wife right quick. I appreciate you guys stopping by. No It Be Trucking and Transportation. Comment, subscribe, and I'm out.